leads us to tonight, where we're in the next stage where we want to actually start driving traffic to that capture page. So again, tonight there's not going to be any slides. I'm just going to run through a few things, and then we'll get into actually showing you how I go about it. And it's going to be a very nice and easy, simple way to start doing this. I'm going to discuss a few options and finishing off by creating some simple Facebook ads. And there's some far more detailed options for that, which we can get into at a later date. But this is going to be something nice and simple that we can get stuck into and get going with right away. But just before I wanted to get into this, I wanted to just make sure that we are aware of what we shouldn't do with driving traffic. Just because we've created that capture page and we have a link now, we're not armed and dangerous, or well, essentially we are if we don't do it the right way. So there's a huge no-no, and this can't be stressed enough. If you have your link, you do not, and I repeat, not want to start spamming your link everywhere. There's the way to separate yourself from all the other marketers out there, well, I say not marketers that don't really fall in this category, wannabe marketers probably, where they are all fired up about their opportunity or whatever they're marketing, and then they just think everyone should have it, and they just start throwing the link everywhere. They're putting it all over their Facebook pages, all over the other social media. They're spamming inboxes with it, buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff. And it's just totally against what we're trying to do here. We're very much approaching this from the attraction marketing frame of mind, where we want to provide value so that people come looking for us. So because the fact that we've identified where our ideal target market is, regardless of our niche, it could be, for example, real estate agents looking to generate leads for prospective house sellers and buyers, to someone in the home business industry where they're looking to generate leads for their network marketing business, for example, or affiliate marketing for that matter. So it doesn't matter what the industry type is, all these rules apply. You don't want to assume that just because you think everyone should have your product doesn't necessarily say they might even need your product, but they might not necessarily want your product. In fact, they won't all want your product. So the way that we stand out is by creating interest rather than going out and throwing our link everywhere. It's like that is very much like that old saying where you're asking someone to marry you on the first date. You start doing that kind of thing, because there's no way. I mean, you might get the odd sale by pure luck, but the majority of people, you're going to send them running if you take this approach. So it's very, very important that we are aware of how we actually share our link to get the result that we're actually after. So the big no-nos is, again, just to be sure that you know that going to people's private messaging them and say, hey, look at this great deal, it's got all these bells and whistles, blah, 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 blah. Here's my link, buy it now. That's going to get you nowhere. What we want to address is the pain points of our customers, and this is what we went through by identifying who they were and when we created our lead magnets to start with. So if you missed those trainings, by all means, feel free to reach out to me and I'll send them across to you so that you know exactly what we're talking about. But now that we have our link, that we do have options, and there's both free and paid options. Now we're going to look at all of these and discuss them, briefly, and hopefully, you'll see the one that resonates with you, and that's the one that you're going to start focusing on. Now, you're obviously more than welcome to use one or all of these options. But once there's a way of creating ads, you can put them on Craigslist, for example. Now that again could be for any niche, no matter what it is, from again real estate to the home business. You can create and generate good leads or good traffic to your capture pages by placing well-worded and targeted ads within Craigslist. And there's a training that, if you're interested in that, let me know and I can get that to you. It's going to specifically deal with that. So I'm just going to highlight them at this stage. I'm not going to go into them. We'll concentrate specifically on Facebook a little bit down the track here. Another examples would be, I'm assuming here that you don't have an email list yet. That's why we're creating these capture pages, to start generating an email list. But if you already do have a list, that's another way you can provide value to your list by offering the solution to a problem. So identify the problem that you're going to solve with your lead magnet and suggest that your email audience come and check it out. So that's a good way, because they've actually already opted into to you, and it's like, again, to the permission marketing, where they've said yes, we can correspond with them. So sending them information to our links is fine because they've already agreed to have that. Whereas someone, for example, just by private messaging them on Facebook, they've not given you permission to start sending them links. So by all means, Facebook prospecting is another great way to do that. So if you target people that you think may be interested, and you start a conversation and establish whether there is a need and a desire and want from them, and if they give you permission, yes, I want to get your link, then by all means send them the link. But again, by no means should you be sending links that aren't solicited. It's just a real turn off, and as I say, you'll send your potential customers running, and you'll just repel them all. So Facebook prospecting is a great one, and I have done a training on that, how you go about that. So again, if people want that, just reach out to me and I'll get that right across to you. The other really good one is just creating engaging social media posts that, again, address that pain point that you are trying to solve for your target market. And that way, when it resonates with your your target audience, those people will reach out to you and opt into your page. So you can post generic messages like that on Facebook, where you're discussing a particular problem, and then say if you want a solution to this, then the people will come and track you down or track that link down. But you don't want to just assume that everyone else is going to want what you're doing just because you think it's a great idea. And that's again a big point that some marketers miss. And it's a very fine line, and we all get tempted to wanting to put posts on our Facebook profile pages. Rather, the way you should be doing it is to actually create a Facebook fan page, and that way it's relevant to your business, so the people there will want to engage with you and want that information. But that being said, if it is okay when I say okay, I mean, if you look at it, say 20% of the time on your profile, you're posting, again, messages though, and engaging posts, rather than just blatant come and have a look at my stuff or come and opt into my thing kind of post. You want to try and write a message that is going to be thought-provoking and provokes curiosity, that's going to make people want to engage and come and check out what you have to offer. So it's really important to keep that in mind. But on your Facebook fan page, you can get a little more direct with what you're offering, because your Facebook fan page should be set up specifically around your business and what you actually do. So by default, you're attracting people there that are specifically after what you're into. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead now and look at creating a Facebook ad to drive traffic to a capture page that that I have created. And I'm going to go through the process that I go through, and I'll show you exactly how I go about it. And at the end of it, if you have any questions, feel free to ask, and I'll happily go over them with you. As I say, this is going to be the simple version of how to do it. It shouldn't be a long webinar, but as I say, I'm happy to stay and answer any questions that come across. But so what we're going to go through first is we're going to go and look at creating a very engaging image, because that's what's, when people are scrolling through their social media sites like Facebook or Instagram or whatever, it's the images that catches the eye. So just always look at from the point of view of what you do, because your ideal target market is going to act and engage very much the same way that you do. So if you pay attention to what attracts you and what you like to click on, and then keep that in mind when you produce your own ads and posts, because if you're finding things attractive, then there's going to be other people that will do that as well. And then by the same token, if you see things that turn you off, then pay attention to those too and avoid doing that in your marketing. But again, a lot of this is all trial and error. And specifically, like with Facebook ads, and then we'll get into a more in-depth training in another webinar, but when we go into that, we're actually look at creating different ads that we can actually split test to see how different ads perform. And I've seen results of some high-profile marketers where they change or eliminate one word out of the heading of their ad, and it has a significant impact. And I honestly wouldn't have believed if I hadn't seen it and knew that this person was credible. So it's a very subtle art, if you like. So there's an art and a science to it, and it's trying to find the happy medium between the two. So with that said, let's get into it. So first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to screen share here, and we'll go from there, look at a few like ones that I've done, and then we'll create one and show you how I go about it. So bear with me now as I just go ahead and screen share. This is hopefully the buffering problems have sorted themselves out, but just refresh, that normally works. But I'm just going ahead and screen share now. So screen share. Okay, now you should basically see my Facebook fan page there. If I can just get someone to confirm that yes, that they can see that, that would be really good. If you can just type it in the chat. It's a little bit of a delay there, but hopefully that you can all see it. It's showing on, I've got a couple of screens here, so I can see that, so I might just press on. Okay, well, thank you. Yes, thank you, Chris. We will proceed. So basically what you can see here, this is just quickly the type of ad that we're going to be creating. I've got a picture which is eye-catching, talking about, this is one I've just produced for tonight's training. It's got an image that's eye-catching. We've got some text that tells exactly what it's about. A bit of personal branding on there, and a quick little message that is short and to the point with the links to click through. So nice and simple, and that's what we're going to do tonight. And that's just a simple boosted post, but we're going to go through how I go about creating this. So what I wanted to start with is I showed you last week the capture page that I created, and I'll just pull it up now, and that was, excuse my typing here. So there you can see the capture page that I created, and now bear with me, I'm not on my computer tonight, so I've got this computer that's playing up. It keeps getting these pop-up ads. So there you can see the ad. So now what we're gonna do is produce an ad that is going to drive traffic to this page. So as you can see, it is a page that I created for the home business niche, and it's teaching people how to generate leads on Facebook. So the first step that we're going to do is, it's always nice, as you saw in my, just quickly go back to my Facebook here, where I created a domain name. It's rather than having a link. So if you're going to promote something that's consistent, then I would definitely invest the money to buy a domain, and it's real easy then just to forward that domain. And I like using GoDaddy. It's very inexpensive. You can always look for coupons. I always Google for coupons, so that's a little tip there. And you can end up getting domains for like 99 cents, excuse me, for the first year. And it just makes it so much easier for people to remember if they can't, click on it and register then and there, or opt in then and there. If it's a nice catchy domain name, it's going to be a lot easier for them to remember. Alternatively, like what I did on this particular one, if you saw what I typed in it, if you've got a blog, a WordPress blog, there's a plugin called Pretty Links, and you can create domains in there for this. So what I just said clivejeffrey.com/get leads, and that takes me to this page. So if on Facebook, as we go through, you'll see that's the domain I'm going to put in there, and it'll all link up through this. So once we've created or got a domain sorted out and we're ready to go, and we've got our capture page set up, now we want to go ahead and create the actual ad. So it's quite simple, really. All we do is we go to our fan page. Now you can only run ads from a fan page. You can't do this from your personal profile. So if you haven't got a fan page as yet, they're really simple to create. You can just go ahead and do that. It's just follow the steps, basically. It's paint by numbers, but really simple. And again, put in a nice banner. And I'll show you some software how we're going to create our image, that you can actually create your header on there if you haven't, just as an aside. So the first step we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and create an image. So what I normally do is I use Canva. So it's canva.com. If you can see, canva.com, and that is a free graphic design program. It is really simple to, easy to use, and as I say, free. You can't get much better than that. So what we're going to do is, there's all different sizes and different types of images that you can click on here to create your images around, and you don't have to think about it. So if you want to do a social media post, like on what we're going to use here on Facebook, we just click on that first one. If you're using a PowerPoint presentation, you want to make images for that, just click on that one. There's a poster size one, and here's the one that I was telling you about for your Facebook cover page, and here's the one for a Facebook post. So and again, Instagram, and then if you can click on here, and you can get a whole lot more, which is going to give you different presentation size, letter sizes, you name it. There's ebook covers, Kindle covers, blog titles. It's a really, really cool, easy to use tool. So what we're going to do is we're going to create that Facebook post. So we just simply click on that, and it's going to bring us through to a blank canvas. What you can go through and share, you can, there's a whole bunch of images that you can also just like to go to Google and Google Images. Now you've got to be wary. We'll let you know now as I show you. If you just click on images, and you've got to worry about copyright. So I always know the images that I use look very generic, and I always put my own slant on them. So you don't want to go and basically take someone who's obviously spent a bunch of money on a graphic designer to produce an image and then just go steal it and put your branding on it. No, that's really not on. But if it's just a simple background shot, and again, as I say, it's a fine line. People say that if it's out in the public domain, then you're free to use it, but just be wary of copyright infringement. It is something to very much keep in mind. If I was on my own computer to produce this ad for this thing, I would actually use probably that image in my ad, but because I'm not here on my computer, I don't actually have that image available to me. So I'm going to find something that just to show you the exercise, and because this is all getting back to the congruency, because ideally we want our post on Facebook to look just like the capture page. So when they click on that ad, they arrive on this capture page, and the congruency is there. They, without even thinking, their brain recognizes, yes, this is where I'm supposed to be. It doesn't make them do a double take. Oh, where have I arrived? Have I come to the right place or not? Because that, again, is critical, that they, for people to follow through and do what you want them to do, and that is to enter the information. They've got to feel that they are going in the right direction, because people are very skeptical about being scammed online. You know, and I'm sure you were the same way when you first got online. You were very suspicious of people because there's lots of horror stories out there, and unfortunately there are people that are scammers. But so that's why we've got to make sure that we go out of our way to make it obvious that we're not. It's probably a good way to describe it. So let's see if we can find an image that's going to help us do that. So I'm normally pretty specific what I search. So I'm looking to generate leads online. So I'm going to type that into my and see what images come up. So and see what images come up. So there's all kinds of images here. So that let's have a quick scroll. As I say, if I would ideally use my own image, but because I don't have my computer here, I might just actually let's just use this magnet because that's pretty simple. So all I do is I save that. And let's call it. We'll just name them when you save them so that something that you can remember. Just a little tip because often I've gone through there and I thought, well, now what? I can't remember what I called the thing. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to upload the image into Canva, and if you haven't used Canva yet, then I can tell you you're going to love it. It's just a great platform. So then it's real simple. So we just drag it over, click on it, and I just span it up to the size that I want. It fits on my canvas perfectly. You can see the edges there, and that's great. So what I'm going to do then is I just have an image of myself that I normally put on these things. That over again, put my image on there. Now, something that's very, very important that, and I strongly recommend that you read through the Facebook's terms and conditions, because they can be, I mean, they are very, very strict about what you do and do not have on anything for their paid ads. And you can't have on an image that you want to promote, you can't have more than 20% of the area of the image taken up in text. So even if you had the background image there, you see that with the magnet and the people, if there was wording on any of this, that wording would count. So be wary of images that have wording on them. So for example, if you had an image of a street, for example, with lots of neon signs everywhere, all that wording would count against you. You'd never get it approved. So just something to keep in mind. So what I like to do is put in a little space just to where we're going to put our text. This just basically puts a blur over it just to dull the image down where we're going to have our image. And from a bit of practice, I know where I like putting my text is right in this area here. And from practice, I know that if that's pretty much going to take up 20% of this area here. Maybe we could go a little bit more, just a tad more. But I'll show you how you test it once we get done. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put some text on it. Just add a heading, drag it up, and span it out. Then it also automatically spaces it for you. So I just dragged it to the edge of this, of the canvas, and then we just simply start. I'll just delete that and start typing. So what I'm going to do now is what our capture page says: how to get your first 10 leads online in 24 hours. That's what we're going to put on here. So we'll go back. How to get the first 10 leads in 24 hours. Out tech skills. Okay. So again, once you're doing yours, you can play around and with your wording. And again, we're doing this very quickly. So there you can see I've positioned that on that screened area, and it just looks a little bit better. So you can get as involved with this as you want it. If you want to put it, you can change the background color on these things by just going to backgrounds. You can do all kinds of things. You can click on these templates you can see here on the left, and you can change all the wording out. And this is so simple. So for example, if you this one here, wine and beer, if you typed a new wording in there, it would stay in that same format but be positioned on the page in that style. Again, if these circles, so you can you can be as creative as you like. So I like to keep things nice and simple. And again, as I say, I've got the wording here that is congruent with my capture page. And ideally, I would have my own image here as well, as I mentioned, but I don't have that luxury tonight because I'm not on my own computer. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to save that, and we just download it. And I always just download it as you've got different options here. But if you want it for print, which is going to be a lot higher resolution, but we're just going to be using it online. So we just want for the web. So we just click do that, and it'll automatically download it for us. So that would then we can then start utilizing that for our ad. So going back to our Facebook, get rid of that. Just click OK. So again, now what we're going to do is just write up our ad. So I'm going to put our link http:// you can see by having a link like that, it's a lot easier to read. And as you can see, it actually brings up because it's for that funnel that Facebook automatically brings it up. So that's another option too. You can see that you could actually then just write your ad in there if you wanted to use that image, and that would be very congruent. But because it starts to look like an ad, it's probably not ideal. But again, that would work really well. In fact, it's probably would be a good way of doing it as well if you didn't want to create an actual image itself, because obviously this is going to be clickable as well. So but what we're going to do is we're going to just delete that, and we're going to write some wording that's congruent with our ad. Basically, I'm just going to use the same wording that we've got here. I'm just going to copy that, and you can get as involved as you want, and you can put a bit more of a story on there, but for time's sake, I'm just going to leave it at that. And what I like to do is I normally start off with my link, and I also end with my link. It just gives you, basically it's the way I was taught. And the guy, my mentor, Mark Harbert, who taught me, he knows what he's doing, so I always just follow what he says. So a nice, simple call to action there. So maybe we should just put a few more, if you would like to learn how, let's just do that, hey? If you would like to how to generate 24 hours. Whatsoever. So a very clear call to action is extremely important. And the thing to be wary of too, and I've meant to mention that earlier, was that there's certain words that you just do not want to use in any of this area here where we've just typed our message, or in on your ad itself. You do not want to mention the words MLM, network marketing, home business, and you don't want to have any kinds of income claims, before and after claims. You just will not get your ad approved. It's simple as that. They are very, very strict. So it's very important that you do read through the terms and conditions. But those ones in particular are real no-nos. You really want to stay away from those. So that's, again, just anything to do with MLM, home business, what else? Network marketing, you know, and anything to do with before and after and income claims are definite no-no. So stay well clear of those. So then, quite simply, all we do is load up our image, and we were going to call it up now. And there we have it. But now the one little step that I needed to show you, and I'll show you quickly before we actually publish this ad, is we needed to double check that that text that we have on the ad. So let's just get rid of this. This text area here doesn't take up more than 20% of the actual ad area ourselves. So just let me get this. So basically, if you go to facebook.com/ads/tools/text overlay, I'll actually put that link in the chat, because I'm sure you guys, if you haven't got it, it'll be really helpful for you. It's a great tool to use. So I'll show you exactly what it does. So, but basically, all we do is we call up upload that image to that. So and there, as you can see, I've got it pretty well spot on, because basically we can only every box that has text in it, then we click on it and it'll give us the percentage, and this is basically 20%. So we're on our max limit there. So you can see just from practice, I've pretty much got it down to a fine art where my text can fall. So now you can put a whole bunch of small text in there. You know, it doesn't matter how many lines of text or the number of words, as long as it doesn't take up the surface area of this ad. It can't be any more than 20%. So if I had, for example, I normally used to like put my domain down here. If I did that, I'd be over the limit, and my ad just wouldn't get approved. It's bizarre. They literally, there's no emotion goes into it. They have software that actually puts the ads through this grid, and if it doesn't pass, you just don't get your ad approved, and you can spend a lot of hours, you know, toing and froing if you don't concentrate it. So use that link that I've put in the chat, and it'll save you a lot of heartache. You know, with frustration waiting for ads to get approved, because sometimes, and you know, if you get a couple of ads disapproved, then they start being tougher on you, and they start looking at scrutinizing you more. And here's a little tip too: if you do happen to get an ad disapproved, then delete it out of your ads manager, because they do look at your account overall. And if you've got like say you've done a few ads and they've got maybe 10, 15 ads, and 7 of them were disapproved, then they're going to look at you in an unfavorable light, because they deem it that you're trying to get one by them, you know, rather than it's an innocent mistake. They always look at it from a malicious point of view, and that you're actually trying to outsmart them and sneak something by them, and they punish you accordingly. And they do it without any kind of correspondence or warning. I can tell you from personal experience, I've had an account shut down. They didn't knock my page or my profile page or my fan page, but they just shut down my ads manager, and I was no longer allowed to advertise with them. So, you know, it's sort of kind of hard. You keep thinking, well, they don't want my money, and they won't get into correspondence with you. They just literally tell you that your ad has been shut down permanently, and it's not up for negotiation. Simple as that. So little tip there. So now we're happy to proceed because we've got our ad. It's going to pass the rules, so we can go back and publish this ad. So what is good, if you know, so we've got this ad published now. If you want to, if you have, you know, like a syndication of friends that, you know, you support each other by liking your content and things like that, it's always good to get them to come and like a post, because if a post has got engagement on it before you boost it, Facebook's going to think, oh, well, this is a post that everyone likes, and they will make it more visible for you. So it's just another little tip there. If you're able to get, you know, a few people to come and actually like and comment your post before you go ahead and boost it. But the boosting process itself we'll go through next. And as I say, this is the very simple part of doing an ad where you can still get really targeted. It's not just a blanket boost. So I'll show you exactly what to do. So you simply click on boost here, and it's going to bring up our ad. And see how it gives us the option too, where people can like the page. So I've been growing my likes without actually running like campaigns, but just by promoting content, like, for example, this one we're doing here, and people that I'm targeting, because I know they're my target audience, they get benefit from it. They're interested in it, so they like my page by default, and they are proper likes then, if you know what I mean. They're, rather than just solicited likes, it's actually people that are voluntarily liking the page, which is, you know, got to be good, because at the end of the day, that's what we're after. You know, we're looking to get our audience to know, like, and trust us, because it's all about building an audience around our niche. So what we're going to do is, now again, we can have an option here. We can, if we can run an ad just to the people that have liked our page, if we've got a big enough audience to do that, or we can run it to people who like our page and their friends. Now that's one I've tried a few of those, and I didn't really quite like it. I didn't think that just because people are friends that they're going to have the same, they may have the similar interests, but it's, you know, it's a bit of a stretch, and I found that it you know, it wasn't very congruent with the audience. So I rather choose people by targeting, and you know, you can look at just doing an ad to your page if you want to, but you can also look at growing different audience through using pixels to target them, and for retargeting purposes, and that's another training altogether. But that's where, you know, I'm sure if you've been to Amazon, for example, and looked, say, for example, a handbag, and then you've come back to Facebook and you see that handbag everywhere you go, that you've been cooking with a pixel on Amazon, and that's what's following you around. And we can do the same thing. So if people come to our capture page, they may opt in or they may not. Then we can, if they don't opt in, they can still get cookied to us. And as I mentioned on there, when we were creating the capture page last week, I show you how we put that pixel there. But this is where, you know, this is where we can also target that audience that we build up. So it's, again, a very targeted audience, and it gets your ad costs down. But again, that's a training for another day. And if someone wants specific training, I do have one on the pixels themselves that I can send you. So again, feel free to reach out to me and I'll get it across to you. So what we're going to do here is we're going to create an audience. So we can, for this particular one, I've selected Network Marketing Pro, because I'm targeting people in the home business niche. That's what we're going to do here. Now, if we wanted to edit that audience, for example, if this was from a preset one, it sort of brings up your last default, if you like. So if we wanted to create a new audience, for example, say maybe we want to, rather than Network Marketing Pro, let's have a, because that's as I say, the whole thing is trial and error. So I like to target high-profile people in the home business industry. So, for example, I might call this one Danny Johnson. I'm not sure if you know Danny Johnson. If you don't, look her up. She's amazing. Again, we're going to only look for United States. Another trick here is to keep your interests and everything you do on an ad defined to one particular target audience, because if you, for example, if I had the Networking Marketing Pro and Danny Johnson as my interests, for example, when we come down here, this is just a title basically, but and you could have different countries, but then you don't know where people are opting in from. But if we just keep it to, say, one country and one interest, then we know how that ad's performing. Then we can set up another ad with a different country and a different audience, and we can see which one works best. So that's how we do our split testing. But if we have it all grouped into one, like have a whole bunch of different interests and a whole bunch of different countries, as I say, we don't know where our opt-ins are coming from, and we can be diluting the power of our ad, because we just don't know. And it's the information that we track is critical for this, because otherwise you could be spending money unnecessarily, and that's the last thing we want to do. We want to basically, for every dollar we spend, we want to get some money, at least more than $1 back, and that's the ideal. So what I like to do is I target people between 35 and 65. I think by the time they've got to the age of 35, they probably settling down, more interested in looking to either create another stream of income, or they want to change careers and do something, and up to the retirement age, because in the home business industry, people can look at earning extra money, because they 65 is young these days, and people aren't ready to retire, and they might just looking to supplement their income. That's why I choose them. But again, because we went through that exercise of defining our target market, that's going to help you make this through this process, make this process very easy, because you know exactly who you're trying to get a hold of. So you can literally enter that information here, because you should have identified their ages, and if it's male or female, and their interests. So you can get really, really targeted here. So you can type in whatever you want. And as I say, I'm going to look for Danny Johnson. Johnson. Yep, there we go. And see, it's going to bring up a whole bunch of other different things, but we don't want to do that. That's all we need to do here. So just click save. And here's now the budget and duration. Again, this is a very simple ad. When we go later on and look at other creating ads in our ads manager, it's a whole lot more complicated, but these are very, very effective. I use these predominantly. They're nice and easy to do. I can pump one out in a few minutes, and the results are good. So, but just see what works for you. And this is a very good starting point to cut your teeth on paid ads, and get a feel for it, get a feel for which audiences work for you before you start spending a bunch of money. What I normally just do, whatever your budget, whatever you feel comfortable with. But I like just do, say, $5 a day. You can $5 probably about a minimum you want to do, and it's still going to get my ad in front of between 530 and 1,400 people, and of targeted people. So they're obviously, if they like Danny Johnson, they're interested in the home business area. So that's the kind of thought process that you need to be going through. So if you're a real estate agent here, you could, for example, there may be a high profile real estate person that you want to target, or you could be a type of, if you're after, for example, a mortgage officer and you're looking to target Keller Williams real estate agents, for example, you could target them. But if you're looking for home buyers, you might look at people that were in a certain industry. As I say, you can get a lot more targeted when you go through the ads manager, down to the income to the home. You name the interest or demographic that you're trying to go through. It's there on Facebook, because you just think about it, everything on your own personal profile, everything that you've entered there as far as your interest goes, your age, your name, your where you work, all that kind of stuff, Facebook knows and uses that information to allow its marketers to target their audiences, because that's basically how Facebook makes its money, is through its advertisers. So it's free for everyone to use, but they wittingly or unwittingly give all the information, and then which allows Facebook to allow its marketers to market to them in a very precise way. And that's why, because Facebook is very aware that people come to Facebook not to do business essentially, but to socialize, to be entertained and informed, and engage with their friends. They really like the advertising that goes on Facebook to be very user friendly and not be in your face, because the last thing they wanted to do is Facebook to become an infomercial, because then people will just stop coming, and then everyone loses. Marketers lose, and the people they obviously just won't want to be there to socialize. So, and that's where what Facebook doesn't want to happen. So you can understand where they're coming from with their rulings. It's best. It is at the end of the day best for everyone. So again, duration of the ad. Now, this is an interesting one. You can do it for 1 day, or you can do it, basically for as long as you want, because you just click on the calendar and you can go to wherever you want. You can have it going for months. But from what I've been told, and also from my own experience, it takes about 3 days for an ad to actually settle down and to start getting some decent results. Because if you just run an ad for 24 hours, it's Facebook has only just started putting it out, and it would have come out different times of days. Although again, in advanced settings, you can set the times of day you want your ad to be shown, but not in these boosted posts. So it can. Although I've had great success just using it for 1 day. For example, if you forget and you want to just quickly pump one out to promote like a webinar for tonight, for example, by all means, just do it for a day. And what I tend to do, for example, if I wanted to run an ad, so let's say for this morning for something I wanted to promote for tonight, I might go and put, say, a budget of $25 for the day, or even if you want to, you can put $50 for the day, and that way Facebook will start pumping it out. But then you can shut the ad down before the webinar starts, for example, so that and it would have spent probably $10 or $12 of that $25 that you had allocated for that duration. So you won't get charged. You will only get charged for what got used. So you can just stop the ad or pause the ad, and you'll stop being charged. But that's a good way to get a good, boost to your ad if you just want it to run for a short period of time, and then Facebook will get it out there. So basically, then it's just as simple as that. We can just click on boost the post, and then that is going to go through to Facebook, and it'll go there for approval. And that can take anywhere from 10 minutes to half an hour to even a couple of hours. But if you've got a pretty good track record, and don't have, you follow the rules, and you don't try and sneak things by, and you don't break any of the rules, you'll find that your approval times come down quite a bit. So as soon as it's approved, it'll start being pushed out there by Facebook. So we'll just shut that one down. We'll go back to our page, just refresh this, and it'll just it'll say there that it's boosted, but we haven't yet had it wouldn't have actually been approved as yet. So as far as though it says it's boosted, it won't be running at this stage. It'll start once it is boosted. You'll see it start clicking down. So let's see if I like this one here. It's got a few bucks left. It tells you how much it is running left on your ad. So if you came back, say for example, you did post an ad and you pumped it up because you wanted to get views for this evening's webinar, for example, then you can come back when it got to how much you were prepared to spend for the day. You could then literally go ahead and pause that ad. So quite simple to do. So we will just, and I will go through quickly here to show you into the ads manager. This is, if you just come through to, if you just go to, as you saw what I did there on your home page, just go to your ads manager, click on that, and then it will just bring you through all your different ads that you've got running. And the one that we just created, it says here it's pending review. And if we wanted to, again, if you want to come and check some ads out, like this one I've got running here, it's getting look at that. It's had a reach of 799 people, and it's had 328 video views for 2 cents a view. So you can see the benefit of that. That's not a bad return. And that again was just promoting. Yeah, I think that was promoting tonight's webinar. But if you come here, we can just click on that, and we go ahead and edit that and there, yep, it's showing there the ad. It gives you all the different stats, and you know, it was the budget of $10 on that one. And again, you can just see it gives all the demographics. But actually, once you've created the ad and boosted it, then you can come back in here and edit it like I showed you. So if you saw how I got there, let me just go back and just so that you can see that again. So once you boosted the page, so if we'll just go back to my actual fan page. So there's the post. So all I did was I came here and went on home, then up here to my ads manager. And then there's all the different ads. And all I did was click on. So if I wanted to stop this ad just quickly, all I just click on this button here, and that would stop it. But you can also click on that, and we want to edit this, so we just click on edit, and then no, we want to go one click further. We want to click on it again, and that way we can edit it. No, why isn't it doing it? Just 1 second. There we go. So there we go. So there we can see the ad, and we can see it's in the mobile news feed, and you can just try that as well, whether you want mobile or desktop. I normally either run mobile or desktop, but again, you don't want to run both on the same ad, because then again you don't know which one's working, you know. So although in this particular one I've got it running on both, so but I don't have the right column one. So there I've broken the rules there, one of my own rules, and that was just because I know I threw this one up in a hurry. So, but yeah, normally I only have one of the three options going, because that way again you can figure out which ones are working for you or not. So that's pretty much how we drive traffic to our capture pages.